friends. I'm your host, Erin Port, and welcome to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Life can be overwhelming and busy, so once a week, I invite you to join me, and together we will make simple tweaks to uncomplicate the hard parts of our life so we can spend more time doing what we love. I don't know about you, I am an early decorator. I know it's controversial, but this year I told my husband, I actually wish I decorated just a hint earlier because it feels like Christmas comes faster and faster every year. Raise your hand if you feel the same way. Okay, now put your hand back on your steering wheel or go back to folding, whatever you're doing. But the minute Christmas is over, and if we're not traveling, which we are this year, so I'm not doing it December 26th, but the minute I get home, usually I am ready to put everything away and start the new year with a blank slate. But it can be daunting to think about putting everything away, including the presents and the decor. So I'm going to walk you through my best tips and tweaks to help you undecorate and organize post-Christmas in this episode, because it's time to undecorate. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about is to embrace the blank slate. Every year when I take down all of my Christmas decor, it feels sort of like a blank slate. And sometimes we can be quick to put a bunch of things back, but just sit with it a little bit, let your eyes get used to it. Anytime I have a change, whether that's my hair gets cut or I rearrange the furniture or, a new season in our lives starts, I start to just feel a little bit of discombobulated, maybe just a little bit of uncomfort. And that's normal human response. So don't feel like, some of you might be like, hallelujah, I love the blank slate. Some of you might feel like, oh, this feels a little stark, but just sit in it for a little bit. And of course, you don't have to put all of your decor away. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. But last year, my kids all have these 4-foot Christmas trees in their bedrooms, and we undecorate them. And then I actually brought 2 down to put one on either side of my fireplace. I still use my smart plugs. I love a good smart plug. And Scott programs it so it turns on at 6:30 in the morning and it turns off at 10 o'clock at night. And those little Christmas trees that are undecorated just flank our fireplace for the month of January and part of February. And it just brings me a lot of joy in the doldrum days of winter. So don't be, you can undecorate. I've even had my friend, Sammy, she undecorates her Christmas tree and just leaves it up for a little bit in the month of January. So you can leave some stuff up and just undecorate it too. It's totally up to you. That's the beauty of being in charge and an adult. You get to make these decisions, and every year can be a little different based on what your needs are. Tweak, right, to make it work for you and make it make sense. Wow, that was really hard to say. Probably because of all the sugar cookies I've eaten recently. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to just say to you. Okay, and now we're going to start talking about putting things away and storing with intention. So number 1, I like to get my family involved. We've talked a lot about delegating tasks and how that can simplify your life. And I always think from our perspective, we think like we're burdening people. I don't want to burden anybody. But we're not just raising kids, we're raising future adults. I've said that probably more times on the podcast than we can count at this point. But even things like this, where we are inviting them into the taking down process, is important. Not only does it lighten your load, but it's teaching them life skills, many hands make light work, all of those sorts of things. And one of the favorite things I like to do is have them go around carefully, because there are, of course, you have to, within reason, how old are your kids, but go around and collect items around your house and then put them on the dining room table. I like to just do that. Put everything on the dining room table. And then if I want to reuse things, I can, or I could say to them, leave this or whatever. But that just really helps. So, bring over the nativity scenes. And now my kids are old enough where they're really, really, really helpful with this. You can have them take down the garlands, all of those sorts of things. So I really like to do that. Okay. For your totes, I don't have all clear totes, but if I were to start from scratch, which I don't recommend, but if you need another tote, I like to do clear totes. And here's why, because it's easy to see what's inside. That way you can label them, which I highly recommend labeling them, what's in it, and grouping things together, like all of your greenery and all of your nativity scenes and all of your ornaments in bins, just because it makes it easier to decorate next fall. But then clear plastic containers really just up that factor, because then you can see inside without having to open the box. And I just like to update what's labeled on each box. Here's the thing. You could totally use a label maker, and that's great. What I have found to work for us is a sticky note and packing tape. So I just write the basics of what's inside, nativity scenes, Christmas books, plush snowballs, whatever it is. I stick it then on the side and I add some packing tape. That way it stays on and it goes in the back room in the basement. Along with that, I like to group my totes together. So Scott built these very basic but very functional shelves that are the width and height of our totes, our Rubbermaid totes. So literally you can slide them in. You can even lift the lid a little bit. So if you wanted to peek inside, you could. And that way we're not having to take all the totes off of one another whenever we want something. And then I group like seasons together. So all my Christmases together. I have a tote for spring decor. I have a couple totes for fall decor. And then of course what I use to put my everyday decor in is my Christmas tote. So I'll pull that back out and put that on the dining room table. But I love a good organized back room. Okay, the next tip when you're putting things away is once your kids have brought it over, hopefully it doesn't happen in that process, but fix it before you put it away. It is such a hug to your future self if it's fixed before you put it away. Now, chances are something might get broken or shift during the winter and, the off season. It never fails. I always have to glue a nutcracker arm back on when I'm decorating. But if it's broken and it's not working anymore, go ahead and get rid of it. Or if you can't fix it, or fix it now, or order the parts now so that you can take care of it. It's just one less thing you have to worry about when you're decorating next year. I just so appreciate, I make sure I have like the command strips and batteries and all of those sorts of things in the boxes so that when I'm decorating, we live in a small town. It is not super convenient for me to go run to the store super easily. Amazon Prime's great, but it doesn't deliver in 2 hours at our house yet. And so just having that stuff on hand in the box right where I need it is so helpful. So I can't recommend that enough. And then a thing with the garland. So I have a love affection with garland. I do. I have it on my banister. I have it on our front porch. I have it on our mantle. Here's what I like to do because every year I think I'm going to remember and I don't. And so I got really smart last year and I take a piece of paper, I fold it in half long ways. So, folded in half long ways on the 11 side. And I write where that garland is hooked to. So the bottom of my garland is hooked to the bottom of my stairs. So I literally write bottom of stairs, main floor. And I wrap it around and staple it around the garland. And then I do the same at the top. And this year, I'm also going to leave the little hooks. I have these they almost look like zip ties, but they're fabric. And not zip ties, but like the little sandwich bag ties, they're fabric. I'm going to leave those affixed pretty tight to where the bow connects to the stairwell. That way, next December, I know exactly what side of the garland goes where. Oh, this is on the main floor. This other side, it's labeled Vera's room, top of stairs, second floor. Then this one is the long, straight banister, Quincy's side, Vera's side. That way, I'm not questioning, okay, which banister does this one go on? Where does this go? Same with our big garland for our front door and our mantle. Those kind of are similar. So I'll say mantle garland, front door garland. And so they're all organized, put into bins. When I pull them out next year, I know exactly where they go. It's just such a simple tweak, but I tell you, it has saved me so much. Okay, then the next thing I want you to think about is taking out the batteries of anything that has batteries. So candles, we also have those books. One of my favorite treasured books of all time is my grandfather reading a book, and he has now passed away, but literally it brings me so much joy when I open the book every year to hear his voice. But I take the batteries out. It for our book, it doesn't delete the voiceover, but if I leave the batteries in, I ruined another similar book because it corrodes in the off season. So I take out batteries for anything. Same with candles. And then what I do is I just go ahead and get a Ziploc bag, especially if it's like a C or a D battery. Those I don't have on hand. Double A, I always have those on hand, but the big ones I don't. So I'll literally just put them in a Ziploc bag and store them with my candles because chances are they'll still work next year. Or if they're dyed, I will go ahead and order new ones and put them in with my decor right next to the candles. So when I pull the candles out, I can put the batteries right in. It just saves you a big old mess. I also have battery powered lights in my wreaths, so I'll take those out so that I don't have corrosion issues there. Okay, speaking of wreaths, I also have a wreath obsession. I love Christmas. And here's the thing I say, do what works for your family, for your house, what makes sense. And I don't feel like our house is bombarded with stuff. I've choose very carefully, but wreaths and garland, I tell you, those are my two weak spots. And it's always been my lifelong dream to have a wreath in every window and to light them up. And I've told you in previous episodes that's taken me several years to work its way up. Which it was worth the wait because this year I got to finally get those battery powered lights and all of my trees were glowing all season. But now I'm going to take those wreaths down. I'm going to take the command hooks off my windows, dispose of the little disposable piece, and then I'm going to put all those command hooks back in a bag. I've already bought the replacement strips. I'm going to put those in with my decor, label it on the side of the bin so I know exactly where they are. You could put your batteries in there as well. So you just have one plastic bag with all of your supplies. And then I put my wreaths in my back room. So I have a back storeroom. We live in the Midwest, so it's very common to have basements, but maybe you do this in your garage or a storage shed. I just tacked some big nails on the studs of our back room, and that's where we hang all of our wreaths, whether it's a spring wreath, an everyday wreath, a winter wreath, Christmas wreath, and that's where I hang them. I also hang my Easter baskets from I put nails on the sides of my ceiling rafters and I hang my Easter baskets up there too. So just an FYI, that's not Christmas related, but that's how I do that as well. And that way all my wreaths don't get smushed. They just are in the back room, out of sight, out of mind until next Christmas. So that works really well as well. Okay, let's turn to the tree now. We have an artificial tree, but look and see what the rules are for your real tree if you have one. We live in a neighborhood where every single year they put a tree in our pond for what would you call it? Fish habitat. That's right. My brother-in-law works for Arkansas Game and Fish, and they do this all over the place down there. They actually hook a cinder block to the Christmas tree and they sink them for real fish habitats. And they do something similar in our neighborhood. But you don't want to just like donate it without telling them because maybe they don't want that. But there are different disposable programs. I know ours, they use it for wood chipping for local parks. So look around and see when the disposal period is so that they don't end up in landfills and they can be reused in a different way. By the way, I saw the cutest little tweak online. If you have a real tree, saw off just maybe like a half an inch disc off the bottom of your tree and write your name, the year, and any highlights that you have for your family, like had a baby, got married. And then you have those discs. They can either be ornaments or you can put them in a little container and you can look at them every year. I just thought that was such a cute idea. We don't have a real Christmas tree, but if I did, I would consider that. I thought that was so cute because the lady that shared it, Jamie Nato, even said that like you could tell just how slim or grand their budget was for their Christmas tree each year based on how thick the trunk was. And I thought that was just kind of a cool way to memorialize your tree. So we have an artificial tree, and I swear by the tree storage bags. That's what we use for our garland, even our trees and our kids' trees. So we have 3 tree bags in our house, 2 for the big tree and then 1 for the Santa tree that's in my bedroom. And then we put the kids' trees in both of those bags as well, just to keep them safe. And they work really well. And then we just put them at the very bottom of those shelves that Scott built. The very bottom one, we just tuck them right underneath so they're out of sight, out of mind for the season, but they don't get kicked or stepped on or whatever. They're just under there, safe as can be. And how we do the Christmas tree. So ours is tall. Ours is a 12-foot Christmas tree, which I love. So Scott gets out the ladder, and him and the 2 big kids, they start to he's up there undoing all the ornaments. The two little kids are undoing the ornaments down low. They're all putting it on the coffee table. And then Vera and I, or Solon and I, are wrapping the ornaments up and putting them in the bin. I do not have an ornament container box. You could totally do that. What we've always done is newspaper or tissue paper. I have to laugh because some of our tissue paper is from like the 80s because they gave us, that's how they came to us, the ones that Scott and I have. Because just like our kids get a new ornament each year for their interests, Scott and I actually both grew up that way too, which is really cool because now we have all those ornaments. And so someday our kids will take their ornaments with them, and then we'll still have ours. And then some of we always get one on a trip. We always get an ornament on a trip. So that's the kind of tree we have. But everybody works together to take them off. Then we take the ribbon off the tree that I wrap around, and I just put that right back on the bow or like the ribbon container. I just wrap it right around that. We take off the tree skirt. Our tree is pre-lit, so we don't have to take the lights off. We take obviously the star off the top of the tree, and then I try to. It ends up being 2 bins now, but we have 2 ornament bins, and then I put the ribbon in there, I put the tree topper in there, and they put the tree skirt in there, and then I make sure to label. Because here's the other thing, when I'm decorating next year, how we do it is everybody's helping me bring up the bins, and based on what it is where they take it to. So if it says tree, they're going to just take that right to the family room. Or if it says upstairs office decor, they're going to just take it right to my office. So those labels really do help come next time. Now, my Santa tree is not pre-lit anymore. We spent time this year cutting off all the lights. Oh my goodness. By the way, FYI, if you have to do that, I would suggest just cutting the lights off and not all the wiring. We take off all the wiring for the top third of our tree, and after that, it was like 1.5 hours of that, and we only got a third of the way done. We decided just to cut the lights off, and you can't tell. So FYI, if you ever have a pre-lit tree that you need to not make pre-lit anymore because it's dead, that's what we did. So I have lights that I put on now. So what I do is I take those off and I wrap it around like an Amazon box that I've cut. So it's think of like a piece of paper, but it's cardboard box, right? Just flat. And then I wrap the lights around it so that you're not getting them all tangled. And then I stick those. Again, I have a box that's Santa tree. I put all the Santa pictures and the frames in there, the Santa ornaments, the lights, the tree skirt, the tree topper, all go in that box. And that way, next year, it's just easy peasy. When I want to decorate the Santa tree, I have that tote. So simple. When we put things together in a box, it just makes it so easy when we're decorating next year. And it really isn't any more work on this end. Okay, so we've put everything in the dining room. We're going to put things away. We're going to label the boxes. We've got our trees put away. We've got our wreaths and garlands put away. Now is the time to take advantage of sales if and only if you need things. So inventory your wrapping paper, your gift bags. We reuse gift bags and gift boxes. I just fold them down, and I've told you in previous podcast episodes, I have that antique dresser in my front hallway, and I have a drawer for gift boxes and wrapping paper, and then I have a drawer for gift bags and all the fixings, the ribbon, the scissors, the tape, all that kind of stuff. But maybe this year, your bags were looking a little rough, or you ripped off the gift tag one too many times, and now it says "Oi to the world" instead of "Joy to the world." I had a bag like that this year. I was like, we've loved this bag. We're gonna recycle it. So now is the time. It's less expensive. You can go get those. Same with Christmas lights. I mentioned I had a major issue with my pre-lit stuff dying this year. Our garland on our mantle died. Our garland on our stairs died. Our Santa tree died. And I bought so many things of lights. I'm going to buy a couple more boxes for next year if they're on sale and they're a good price. That's something that's on my list. Those are a good thing. And then you can just put them in the box and they're there for next year. Anything else that's seasonal like that, if you need to update, like my wreaths outside, they need some updating. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to spend the money while it's not on sale. But at the end of the season, I'm going to order some Christmas balls in red and silver so that I can update, because right now my red balls are starting to look a little orangey, which happens in this sun, even in the Midwest. So it's a good time. But be, you know, be responsible. Don't buy what you don't need. But if there's things that you need, it's a good time to take advantage of sales. Okay, let's talk about Christmas cards. I love Christmas cards. I love that people still send them. I love that the younger generation is doing it. We just got a Christmas card from our former nanny, and it was so fun to see her and her boyfriend on the Christmas card. I love that she sent them. I was like, oh, yay, this isn't a dying art. Makes me so happy, especially now that I'm only on social media for work. I don't share a lot of personal stuff on social media. So I like sending them out because it's my one chance to update on all the kids stuff beyond what I'd share just with the public on my social media platforms. So I still love doing them. And my Christmas card is the same idea as my photo of the month wall. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I have 12 framed photos in my dining room. I have this big wall. As soon as we designed the house, I knew exactly what it was going to be for. And every month I pick one 8x10 to print to represent that month. And then I change it out. Now, in full disclosure, it happens about every 2 or 3 months for me. I change it out because, life. But that's what I ended up using for my inspiration for my Christmas card for the last 3 years. I think it's just a really fun way to share what's happened in our family. I have the 12 photos on the front of the card and then month by month highlight based on what the photo is on the back of the card. And you get a gist of what has happened in our family. So I love doing that, and I love keeping that as a small memento of the season. So what I do is I save, especially close family, close friends, ours. I will punch a hole in it, and I have a little silver ring, and I just keep all of the Christmas cards together. And every year I might get rid of a couple or whatever, but it's so fun to go back and look at previous ones. And we just keep that in the Christmas card basket that I keep on my family room. We keep that, and then we store those Christmas cards away at the end of the season on that little silver ring. So I even laminate ours so it's a little hardier, and then make sure if the date isn't on there, like 2024, I'll mark ours so that we know what year it is. But again, it's so fun to look back. So consider doing that. You could also take pictures and put them in a digital album. You could also put them in a little box, and it's up to you. You can also get rid of them. Totally fine. But that's what I like to do. I like to keep a couple and display them year after year. Okay. Last just thought as we close out is remember, I'm going to say it again just because I think it's worth repeating. You don't have to do all the undecorating by yourself. There are some age appropriate things for all kids that they can help you with. Your husband, even taking totes downstairs. You've packed them all. They can help you take them downstairs and put them back away. They can help undecorate the Christmas tree. All of those sorts of things are so helpful. And remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you undecorate? One tote at a time. And I promise you, without much extra effort, your house is going to go back to normal. The last thing I'd say in the undecorating process is don't forget that pile of gifts that was sitting under the Christmas tree. I know you all have it because I have it too. Christmas morning comes and goes, and there's just this little pile of stuff that doesn't have a home necessarily. Make sure you take the time to put those things away. That's how clutter builds up, is that item doesn't have a home. And so just finding places to put those things is so helpful. One other thing I was thinking about too is we also get out our seasonal dishes. So I have my Christmas dishes out right now. I'll put those away and get my everyday dishes out again. We also put away our Christmas books so they're new and fresh again next year. All of those sorts of things. Pillow covers, if you have those, you can put those away. But remember, you can decorate with seasonal greens all the way through and enjoy a little bit of winter Christmassy touch into the new year. And then, of course, I always like to finish undecorating and organizing with a clean. I actually laugh because when we adopted our youngest, we adopted his birth culture traditions. And one of the things in the Chinese Lunar New Year is to clean your house, to sweep out the old and usher in the new blessings. And I love that sentiment. And so I incorporate that even just when I'm undecorating for Christmas. We clean the house, we mop the floors, we dust to usher out the old and usher in the new blessings. So that's what I hope is in store for you coming in the new year. But I hope this was helpful as you consider undecorating. There's also a blog post with all of these tips and ideas and tricks and tweaks. So I will link that in the show notes. And I will be back next year as we reflect on 2024 and refresh and reset as we head into 2025. But again, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that you have a relaxing couple of days, enjoying your family, enjoying the season, wearing stretchy pants, eating all the cheese, and enjoying the many blessings in your life. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you tune in every week. It's because of you that we were able to join an ad network this year, which means I can continue to bring the Simple Purposeful Living podcast to you for free, which makes me so happy. So thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing with your friends. Remember, you don't have to overhaul your life to love it when one simple tweak will do. Merry Christmas, friends. If you liked this episode, it would mean so much if you'd share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review so others can find our show. Until next time, you can find me at Simple Purposeful Living on Instagram and Facebook.